Hey everybody, it's Elizabeth from Silvernest Homeschooling, mom of 4, homeschooling the younger 2, but have been doing this for 12 years, and so we've already graduated one and have a second that's off to do a community college high school combination for 11th and 12th grade. And this is what is left on our shelf after 12 years. I'm taking you through one shelf at a time. Not a professional, just a mom who has done this long enough and thought it would be fun to take you through the shelves through this winter. Also, disclaimers, no, you don't need all these books to homeschool. And I did want to be a school librarian when I was a child and tell stories to children. So maybe that's another reason why we have so much. We are not book minimalists, but maybe you will find a series that interests you, or on this shelf, maybe some nostalgia. So let's see what we got. We've got some more of these fun little wooden knights that we've had since forever, and then a 3D printed thing my brother made me. I love hedgehogs. A little painting I made a long time ago because, I don't know, penguins. I'm not sure if I gave this to one of my kids and it ended up here. All right, so, but the books. We have this series. I remember sneaking into my school library, and this series was in that library. And so when I was able to, I think my sister found these for me. And what they did was go through different movies and different classic stories. So like this is the Shaggy Dog told in short story form with some art. And I remember checking them out. This is the America one, Stories from America. So it's got Toby Tyler and The Lady and the Tramp. What I like about some of these more classic stories is they remind us of mindsets from older generations and time periods that we hopefully, thankfully have let go of, as far as racism and just the stories that are told versus the stories that were forgotten, left out. And I find that to be very, very interesting. So when we are studying different subjects, we're looking for not only what's being said, but what's not being said, who's speaking, who has the power in the voice. So that is one of the reasons I really enjoy these. And also I just really love old Disney movies, not modern Disney movies. I'm stopped really watching a lot of new things, just movie wise, because I don't know, I'm just too old, I guess, to like pay for tickets. But anyway, so this one, Walt Disney's America. And then you can see we also have the World of Nature, which is more of the animal stories. Let me put these down. So we got World of Nature, if you want me to flip through. So it's more the real stories that they did a lot of taking you in. And so they took the photos from the different shows and then added the writing to go along with it. So that one, and America. America was in front because we were just doing America last year, and so I didn't bother changing it. Fantasyland. You can see Dopey on the front, so you're going to find Cinderella and Snow White and the Seven Dwarves and all that kind of fun in there. And then we have Stories from Other Lands. Our wonderful bagpipes. Probably has Darby O'Gill and the Little People. I own these more for the fun of it than the reading of them now, but I have read some of them again, like when I was younger. So it's been a long time since I read them, but I do really like the artwork. And then this one has been so beat up. Walt Disney's Storyland. So it ended up in the same spot. It's mostly the cartoons. I'm not sure it was published at the same time. Obviously it's a golden book, so it might have been done slightly different, but that came from my sister as well. And the way my kids have been introduced to this series is this wonderful book that we made to take camping. And so I had one of these older books. This is probably from the Storyland book as well. I know some people would make art out of those, but I'll just keep them. All right, turn this over. So this one got the cover ripped off, and this is what is left of it. And what we did was we put duct tape over it on our very first camping trip, and then this became the camping book. So we would take it with us when we were camping, and the kids would pick stories, and Dad would read out of it. And so Zorro, The Reluctant Dragon, John Henry. So, yep, that's one thing you can do with your book if you know you're going to love it and want it, and you can put duct tape over it and keep it for a long, long time. I tried to write camp on there many, many, many years ago. But these are wonderful. These are the My Book Houses, and if you can find these, I do recommend buying these. They divided them up by age. So this is in the nursery, and so it was all... let me see if I can put them on the ground so it's simpler for the camera. Sorry, guys. Again, not professional, just trying to be helpful. This one is almost all nursery rhymes. So if you think about in the nursery, what little kids would want to hear, Lucy Locket Lost Her Pocket, classics. This is the version, I think, that was printed in the 60s or the 70s, where they, maybe 50s, they reworked them, but they're from the early 1900s. And my dad read these to us, the early 1900 copies. You can see this one has some mold or some black spillage of some kind. So hard. I love old books so much. All right. So back to story time. My dad would tell us and read us books, read us the stories out of these. And then as we got older, there's different stories for the different age groups. And they're mostly classical stories, like the ones that everybody would know. And I came along, but my versions, I'll show you in a later video, my versions are from the 1910s, 1908, 1907. And so they're just a little bit fragile. And I wanted some for my kids just to be able to get out and read and make a mess of. And so they successfully did that. Always the earlier, younger books are always a little more messed up in the series because they were being read to younger kids in general. And what they did in this version is they actually made more books than the original series. So the original series were quite slightly longer, and they mixed the books up together. So you can see 1920, and then this one is 1971. So you will get 12 books in this series, but the one that I have only came with, I think, 6, maybe 7. This was my favorite, the Storytime collection, and the Up One Pair of Stairs. So they have the more fairy tale stories. And my kids have pulled these off the shelves and read them themselves. I do love the Through the Gate. I'll show you how the artwork and stuff has changed. So you got Hansel and Gretel on this side. A lot of different stories from around the world, fairy tales, a lot of really fun art from that 20s time period. They do change some of the stories in this. They're not exactly the same. Some of the artwork is left out. So, you know, only if you knew that, I guess it would bother you. This one, I loved Snow White and Rose Red. My dad would read this one to us all the time. But, oh, and the 12 Dancing Princesses. Oh, I always wanted to turn this into a book. I love this story. Anyway, so that's kind of been fun because you get to journey with the kids as they get older. And then as they get even older than that, oh yeah, Through the Fairy Halls. Great artwork. They would start adding in biographies. Magic Garden, you're still telling mostly fairy tales. And then Flying Sails. This is where you start getting into more of the adventures. So Gulliver's Travels. A lot of the stories, classic stories, I was introduced to first in this format, and then that would make me curious to go read the other version. And then they do have a lot of poetry intermixed, and this is one of my absolute favorite poems. I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea in the sky, and all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by, and the wheels kick and the wind's song and the white whales shaking in a gray mist and the sea's face and the gray dawn breaking. So I live on an island, so I always thought this was really cool, this poem. Anyway, yeah, so if you can find these, I was very, very, very blessed to find them in a place that was just sold them as used books and didn't really know what they were. Oh, this art, I love this art. And so I think I got them for like $1 or $2 a piece, which is insane. And I was so grateful. But most of the time, if you look online, they tend to be more than that. I did end up buying, if you haven't noticed, having double copies of things is not bad for me. I did end up buying some of this old copy, got a second version so that the one that was falling apart, I could still have a second version. My dad passed away about 12, 13 years ago. And so one of the things that he did for us was to read to us and read us poetry. So there wasn't a lot of times and touch points in our day that he was able to be around, but that was one thing he always prioritized for us. And so this symbolizes those fun story times and fun poetry times. And so that's why they're still on my shelf and will be on my shelf for my grandkids to read. Hope you're having a great day, and hope that this was fun to look at the art and to see the different things. And if you happen to fly around and see the My Book House series for a good deal and you love fairy tales, this is a fun way to pick them up and have them for your family. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.